The Lost Forest. Wink sat at the edge of the forest near his village listening to the sounds of the birds whistling. Wink loved birds and wanted one for himself, but the other villagers despised the birds because they would try to eat all of the food they collect. Wink didn't care. He wanted to go into the nearby forest and catch a bird. He knew he could train one. Wink spotted an adorable crow that he was determined to catch. He slowly approached the bird that he knew was named Cutie. As Wink approached with his hand full of seeds to lure the bird to him, Cutie flew deeper into the woods. Wink started to hear an odd song that sounded like birds singing. Wink said "what" out loud and could hear his own voice echo through the empty forest. Wink carried on with chasing the bird. An overwhelming fog started to roll through the trees, and it didn't seem like a beautiful sunny day anymore. The fog was so dense. Wink was struggling to find his steps. He was more concerned with trying to escape than following the bird now. As he attempted to traverse the landscape, he saw a glow lighting up the fog. He ran towards the glow, hoping it was light from outside the forest and he could escape. When he arrived, it was actually a sword of some sort. Could it be the sword that seals the darkness from the legends told? Wink pulled the sword from the ground and wielded it with confidence. The air felt thick. There was a dark dust floating in the air. The forest was silent and Wink felt uneasy. Skeletons started climbing out of the dirt. Wink started hacking and slashing at them, but they kept coming. Before he knew it, Wink was surrounded by an army of skeletons. This didn't look good. Wink waited for his moment to strike, and with a fierce and swift spin, he created a whirlwind with his sword to defeat the army that surrounded him. The fight wasn't over. Goblins started forming from the dark dust and were approaching Wink. Wink held his stance. As the sword that sealed the darkness lit up with a red glow, he slashed through the army of goblins with ease. It didn't seem to stop. It was like a forest of nightmares. Hooded wraiths riding horses were coming from the fog so quickly. It was getting tougher. Wink screamed and charged at the wraiths. He was getting tired and weak. The blade was starting to feel heavy. Wink blinked and it seemed like he defeated the wraiths. Everything was starting to blur as sweat rolled down Wink's face and into his eyes. A sudden roar came from the distance. There, Wink stood, in a dark forest. He just wanted to train a bird, and now he felt his impending doom. Why didn't he just listen to the other villagers? A giant octopus-like creature emerged from the fog. Wink felt defeat before he even made an attempt to fight. Just as Wink gave up hope, a familiar sound came from behind him. It was Cutie. Cutie landed on Wink's shoulder, ready to stand by his side. Wink felt a second wind and was ready to fight alongside his bird friend. Cutie started flying up to attack the octopus's eye and to distract it for Wink to attack from below. Wink approached the octopus and got his sword ready to slash its tentacles. Wink slashed at the tentacles of the octopus. It didn't bleed. It was like the octopus wasn't even real. It was made up of these dark dust particles that have been floating around. Meanwhile, Cutie pierced the eye of the octopus. It didn't seem to be enough. The eye was definitely a weak point, but they needed a better plan. Wink remembered the story of the Kraken that his grandfather told him. He needed to strike the eye of the octopus with the sword that seals the darkness. Wink held the sword out for Cutie. Cutie took the sword that seals the darkness into its talons and flew up to the Kraken's face. He dropped the sword. It came down faster than a raindrop into the Kraken's eye. The Kraken exploded into a dark, foggy dust, and Wink flew through the air hoping to make a safe landing. There laid Wink on the forest ground, surrounded by the birds he loved. Wink began to open his eyes. The sudden return of the sun was gleaming in his eyes. It all seemed so surreal. Was it even real? Was Cutie okay? Cutie swooped in and landed near Wink. It looked like he was smiling. They stared at each other, and then Cutie just winked at him and the birds sang their song again.